Fined in pretrial, they set some dates, and the Crown, the local Crown actually is like, thank God this is over, I don't have to do this anymore, they're sending someone down to do your trial, which was the pretrial constitutional argument. So they set some dates back in January. I smoked this, this is Canatonic, I like to smoke it during the day. So back in January is the trial, but we started actually in the day or two after Labor Day, the middle of September. We set a goal to, I think our original goal is we can do 100 affidavits. Yeah, right. 100 affidavits. Just to put it in perspective, an affidavit's about 10, 15 pages. And what we learned along the way when it came to building these affidavits is that we would have to talk to everybody like at least a dozen times, right, Brother Wayne? At least a dozen times we spoke to you. And to me, working with a lawyer, it seemed weird. Well, describe the burning sensation of this illness. I think I just did. It's a burning sensation. No, like really tell me what it means. It doesn't burning sensation work? And so you'd be answering the same question over and over again and just giving them more and more information every time so that I missed the 420, but we were outside already. So, but this is what it took, 22 witnesses. So we talk about these 22 witnesses and put it in perspective. We talked to about 200 people. We put a call out for 200 people, responded, and we had a little package of questions. We'd ask them the first round of questions. Then we would talk to each other, like, is this a good witness? Is this not a good witness? And we were looking for like even subtle things, like how old is this person? Is this person really old? Oh yeah. This person's got some age on me, which was one of the keys. All our witnesses were mostly older than me. Did they have a good story? Did they make efforts to really control their illness? And what were they doing to control it outside of marijuana? And how well did they know their body? Because one of the things that we were looking for on cross-examination, and we had 22 witnesses, and put it in perspective, Stephanopoulos, the carousel ruling, which is the supply issue where you went from 1-to-1 and the grower ratio to 2-to-1, Stephanopoulos showed up to court with about 20 witnesses, and they left court with 7.
Call me later.
They threw out a bunch of their witnesses because they just didn't do a thorough enough background checks. And what ended up happening in Stephanopoulos, a couple of their witnesses said on cross-examination they had never tried the government product and had testified that the government product was no good. We wanted to make sure when our witnesses made a statement, this happened to me, we made sure to check that story and go back weeks later. Tell me about this happening to you. Can you tell it to me again? Did your story change? And ultimately, from those 200 people, we broke it down to 22 witnesses who had seen a grand total of 137 doctors who had turned them down. 22 witnesses with the idea being is that we would find people in PEI to Vancouver, and we could have found a whole whack of people in Nunavut, but the logistics of doing that is unbelievable. Like, they're like, can you just get a lawyer? There's no lawyer out here. We could write the affidavit, but we needed to send the affidavit to the person to get it signed and have it sent back to us. And that also took a lot of work. So from September to January, we worked on the collection of witnesses that the judge believed more. He believed our witnesses over the one witness that the government decided to call, which was Health Canada. They had an opportunity when we gave via voce evidence, which was verbal evidence. I testified personally. Another woman testified from Calgary, Alberta, and a fellow from London, Ontario, and a woman from Newmarket. So we kept a balance there, and we gave the government, hey, there's 4 of us that are prepared to be cross-examined thoroughly right here in court, or you can take our affidavits and we can figure this out. And to put in perspective, you know, the first female witness, the first witness we had on one witness day, they asked like 4 questions. She testified fantastic. On the second day, witness KG from Alberta, she testified so well that the Crown stood up and said, I have no questions, Your Honor. When the judge got up to leave, everybody's supposed to stand down on honor for the judge. He looks at witness KG and says, please do not stand on honor. It's okay. At that point you're like, well, we're getting somewhere with this guy. He's paying attention. He understands that that woman's disabled and she shouldn't, you know, have to stand. So he did that, and he also did it for our witness from London, Ontario, WW, who stopped halfway through. his testimony because he needed a break. And the judge was clearly taken aback by this and clearly paid attention because the first half of the MERNAGH ruling involves the story of every single one of those 22 witnesses. If you want to read Heartbreak, read the first half of the case and how he lays it out. So our witnesses all demonstrate how to testify in court. They all testify truthfully, honestly, and genuinely, which is the first question I did on cross-examination. My lawyer practiced one thing. He told me, if they're beating up on you, and they anticipated beating up on everything from hash mob to activism to everything I did, if he beats up on you and is really tagging you, the best thing is just let him have it. Because we had put X amount of hours of evidence in, we didn't want something stupid to come out, where I say something stupid and ruin the 4 hours of good evidence over something stupid. And that's exactly what Health Canada did. They demonstrated how not to testify in court. It was genius. She actually told the judge, when we asked her and we showed her a map of Manitoba, and we said, it appears that 3/4 of Manitoba don't have medical marijuana. Right above Winnipeg, and Winnipeg is located deep in the south, there was a line right through Winnipeg. She had, you know, would you agree that 3/4 of Winnipeg don't have marijuana? And she actually said, I don't want to answer that question. She had taken a trial that had gone very simple and easily up to this point, that everybody was pretty on an agreeable page. I'd never seen the judge. He was facing me, he turned in his chair like that, and he looked at her, and he had yet to say anything other than, let's break for lunch, let's break for the day. That's all he said throughout this trial, and he turns to her and says in the stern judge voice, I have ways of making you answer that question. Right? Yeah, she started to cry practically after that point. And we just started to tag her. Our plan was to be nice and friendly, just to get her to testify friendly. She demonstrated she wasn't going to testify friendly. And Paul Lewin went after her like he would go after a regular beat cop who had just lied. Like, he tagged her and tagged her and tagged her again, to the point where her testimony was like, nothing she said was believable. Nothing. Because she did that one simple mistake of, I don't want to answer that one. I'm going to be contemptuous with you this whole time. And so now you have 22 people that are being genuine and honest, and the government being contemptuous. If they had come to court and said 50% improvement in the program over the last decade, we probably would have lost. Instead, she came to court and said 500% improvement in the last 10 years. The guy works in the government. Does anybody honestly believe the government's going to improve a program 500%? Any program, 500%. Come on. 50% would have got away with. 500%, lady. No one is buying that orange juice. So, that was the court case. The court case lasted for 10 days, and at the end of it, the judge looked at us and said, I'm going to take a lot of time to make this decision. And I was like, well, at least I'm reprieved for a bit longer. Because honestly, even my friend Chris is laughing. He's like, you're going to jail, buddy, planning 420. You're going to jail. Like, that's what you should be planning, right? No global marijuana march or 420 for you this year. So the ruling, I'm waiting to exhale, basically. This is, I believe, Black Domina. So we're waiting around from February the 1st until April the 11th when the ruling was signed. That was a great length of time to be just sitting there, waiting to go. Am I going to be in jail for 18 months, or am I going to get house arrest? Like, what should I be planning here? So the only thing I could think of was I planned 420. Like, that was about all I could figure out. Like, that's like, oh, at least I'm going to do this. I hope I don't lose my home that I love to rent. So we're waiting for the ruling. We're waiting for this ruling. And I'm smoking plenty of indica hash plant. Actually, sorry, that's hash plant. So I got to smoke a lot of indica. And I didn't realize, like, people ask you about stress. And I'm like, oh man, I'm not stressed, don't worry about it. It turns out I was exceedingly stressed because, man, I was super relaxed the moment that ruling came out, and I've been relaxed ever since. I talked about the ruling, but waiting for it in February, on Family Day, I had a grand mal seizure where I lost 2 days of my life. Like, literally, I woke up on Tuesday, the seizure started happening on Sunday, I woke up on Tuesday. So there's a 48-hour period where I miss. There's several days where I miss at Toronto Western Hospital when these seizures do happen. I miss days. They're like, you miss days. That's why I'm on the seizure meds. It's not that they happen frequently. It's they happen infrequently, but happen for a long period of time. So I smoked a lot of indica.